Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 5 of Intechlectual. Erase Your Socials. I'm Louis, and I'm joined with
Emmanuel.
And today we have a bit of a lineup for you. It's a little bit of a change to the standard. Go through like 10 different points and have an argument, but
We're still arguing. I know what you're talking about.
well, yeah. I mean, we've both got a bulletproof vest on today.
I got a bone to pick with you.
Yo, I got clips. So
let's go.
One of us might be holy in
Holy.
by the end of it. Today we're covering Facebook Messenger, adding a bill splitting feature, Google Watch. They've got a new one coming 2022-ish. And then after that, we're going to take like a deep dive into the broader area of social media, but like there's two specific points we want to talk about is Jack Dorsey resigning as Twitter CEO and some things around that, and then also the CEO of Lush said he's happy to burn $13 million in favor of teens' mental health. So that's kind of the lineup for today. I'll get us kicked off with the thing that's going to get me shot. Facebook Messenger adding a bill splitting feature, which if you haven't been living under a rock, if you've been living under a rock and you probably don't have many of the other like 15 different services out there that does this, it literally is what it says on the tin. It's like splitting the bill. So you can, I don't really know how it works. I think you can like pair the phone together, or you can say like to a different friend and be like, hey, look, this is the bill. Say you went out for food, it's 5 of you, it costs £100, split it 5 ways, everyone can send you 20 quid. Yeah, and I think Facebook needs to be deleted, bro.
Well, first of all,
blah 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 blah.
You can actually pay people on Facebook.
It looks like it, like payment complete. So I think it like pops up, and then you can click like pay, or like you can click like, I don't know what the button, whatever it'd be, like you owe 400 quid. I don't know, maybe it's like for rent, and then you click on it, and I don't know where it takes you. It doesn't really talk about that bit, but it does say payment complete afterwards. So
that's the biggest story here, isn't it? If you can pay people on Facebook, then the bill splitting feature.
But that's the thing though. So technically this is it, but it's not. It's not in its full glory. It's mainly wrapped as like a split the bill, or let's split
Facebook
rent, split utilities.
It's a seamless, secure way to pay the apps you already use. This new bill splitting feature is integrated with Facebook Pay.
Yeah, it's been rolled out in the UK on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah. So they're using Facebook Pay but now you can divvy up the monies.
They've had something like this for ages.
Quick calculator, to be fair. Like, why do you need a
But if you go for dinner, right? Say you go for dinner.
Yeah.
You probably won't divvy up then. You'll divvy up in like 2 days later. So like if someone goes back to the thing and says like, hey look, I know I owe someone 30 quid, I can pay that now. Whereas if it's like if I say to you, can you give me back 30 quid for this whenever, you probably will remember, but I guess there's some people who wouldn't. Like I might not remember. And it's not because I'm being an arsehat and I don't want to pay you. I literally just forgot.
That's true, but if I want my money, then I'm gonna make sure I remind you.
Oh no, if you ask for money, I'll give you that money. But I mean, there's people out there that
I'm saying, yeah. But like,
you know those friends, you know those people that's like, bruh, I ain't paying 1 penny extra than what I spent. They're like, look at the bill and add up what they had. I was like, yo, you're different.
Yeah.
You're different.
My first point was, what's the point in this when you can just tell people that, yo, split this, or you can tell the employee,
the waiter,
like, hey, divide it by 2, please, or divide it by 3, and they get a calculator out, and then they do that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But then your point was, this is for later on. Like, I've got the receipt. Everybody's gone home. By the way, guys, we just spent 10 grand on cheese. We're splitting this 3 ways. Like,
10 grand on cheese. I'm out.
Hey, I don't know. It's just like the bluest of cheeses or something. I don't know.
Nah, I'm on the side of why are they doing this? This shouldn't be a thing. Like it's not something that Facebook should be getting involved with. Like you said about Monzo, right? Like it's built into the app and they've had it for many years. Like that's a proper financial app that you're going for. Like it's not like Facebook isn't finances. Facebook's like people telling people that they've just got in the bath for updates and crap.
No, yes, you're right. But this is my beef with you is the metaverse is more than that now. So this is like Facebook is no longer just just a social media application. They want it to become your life. So now this makes sense to me. Which is what I was trying to say earlier. Like this is the direction that we're going in. They want you to do everything on this on their
Mm,
applications. So payments, dude. But that's the other thing I was talking about is like they have so many the user base is so huge. It only makes sense to utilize daily acquisitions or daily transactions via the same application that everybody's on already. So to me, this isn't a conversation about like I know you don't like Facebook, neither do I, but if most people in the world are using Facebook, then you'd want them to also have things in place that people can use on a daily basis. So now it's like everybody wants to everybody sends money. Money makes the world go around, blah blah blah, right?
no.
So now we have an application that everybody's already on that you can also send money to. You no longer have to find that third party app that everybody's on because nobody's always on the third party app. People like you mentioned Monzo. I've never heard of Monzo. I've heard of like other things that people use to split bills and stuff on. I know Monzo exists, but I've never known that they can do that. But I know everybody that uses a different third party app has Facebook account, except you.
Yeah. But hang on
So
though.
it's
So,
like as far as access is concerned, this is like I hate to say perfect, but it is. It makes sense to me.
but on the other side of things, right? Like, I would go to somewhere like Monzo, which is a proper like financial institution, because I know that pretty much any point of the day it's going to be working, right? I don't trust where Facebook has come from in terms of now developing their Facebook Pay to know that they are like they don't have a good track record in like things that's not financial. It's like, how do
Yeah.
I know that everything's going to be fine now? Whereas
No,
like
yeah, you're
a
right.
financial institution and a bank, which probably Facebook would have to jump through some of these hoops soon if they how far they go. Like if they want to start opening up their bank accounts, I don't know. They'll have to jump through them. But I know someone like Monzo or like a proper bank has to go through these stringent things. I know that the protocols and security that's in place is legit. Like I know that for someone to log into my Monzo app to start sending money to someone else, they need like 3 different layers of security from me. Whereas Facebook, like I think you can like integrate that to like your smart device on like one of the things that you talk to. I'm not going to say the names to trigger anyone's thing, so they listen to it. And then like they could send a message like, "Oh look, send this person 500 quid." It just boop, there goes 500 quid. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's one of those things. Like it's come from a place where, from my understanding, it's come from a place where it's like, what is anything and everything that we can do, as opposed to this is what we want to set out to do, this is how we can benefit for our people. It's more, oh look, what's next, what's next, just keep dropping these features. And some of them that they drop is like half-assed and half, it's not done properly, and then they have
It's
bugs and
not
it
meant
keeps
to be done
going.
properly. It's just meant. It's a monopoly. It just they need to get involved in everything. That's all it is, Louis. It's like think about. It's called the metaverse. Literally the universe. They want everything you do to be through them. They want you to eat, sleep, drink, socialize, work, have fun, play sports, everything through them. They want to. Do you know what I mean? Like that. That's the whole point. So this makes. All I'm saying is, this absolutely makes sense. And to be fair, I didn't know about Facebook Pay until now. So I don't know if anybody else didn't know about that, but apparently it's there. So just like I'm not shocked at all. Like this makes sense, and I'm surprised that again it's taken them. Actually, I don't know. Maybe I don't use Facebook either, but I still have an account, so maybe I'm not
Hmm.
privy to like these kind of things that Facebook Pay has existed until now. But yeah, it's just what it is.
Like
It is what it is.
fair play to him. Like you're right, and think maybe the convenience for other people. So say like I don't know, maybe there's a group of friends that like they do anything and everything on Facebook. I don't know the other things that you can do, and I don't want to know. But maybe for maybe,
Forget friends real quick.
huh?
International payments are like an issue. I don't know if you've ever tried to send money to somebody like in
Yeah.
a different continent, but trying to go through the loopholes of finding that those means and the charges you get as well, depending on like how you're sending or what you're using, because it's not just what you can use. Because here in the UK or in America, we have access to like every application possible, but overseas in third world countries, especially, they don't have all the applications that we have, and they don't have access to them because one, their banks might not be the same as ours, so they might not have the privileges or the permissions to use the applications that we can use. So they have to use certain ways or certain means, such as like different cards or like what was the name of that? Ah, like money sending like things. Sometimes it's even physical. So
Money wise.
Yeah, sometimes it's
Mm.
not even like transactions online. Sometimes it has to be a physical, like put money in an envelope. Do you know what I mean? Because there's no other means to send money to some people. But everybody's on Facebook,
But
so
Facebook
if you
won't.
can,
Hang on, Facebook won't overcome this though. Like they will still charge you the fees. You will still, and because they right. How many people would adopt this, right? So, if you think of economies of scale, right? If you've got 500 people trying to send transfers in the one day, you can give them an aggregate price of the next 10 minutes and they can get a better deal for their money. Facebook will just charge you whatever they've got until people adopt this. So for a while, it might actually be more expensive for them to do that. And we don't even know if they do international. It might just be like you can only transfer to people that are standing right next to you.
very true.
It doesn't say. So
But my bigger point is just access.
yeah, true.
Everybody's on Facebook, so if you can do things on there, again, it adds to the monopoly. I know, but heck, we're here now.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
Some
we'll have
people,
to.
it's more important to them to just send money to their family than it is to like try and figure out which application is more trustworthy than the other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's where Acon comes in. Which
That's
we
where
will
Akon comes in.
will be doing an episode.
That's where Akon comes in.
That's where that's not where Facebook comes in, right? It's where Acon comes in.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have to agree to disagree, and just be like, we've both said our points. We both have our stance on this. Should we move on to the next topic? Yeah.
Yeah, man. Erase Facebook. Erase that social.
Yes. Do it. Delete. It's gonna become like iRobot all over again. Skynet.
It's kind
We're done for. Moving on to the next point. Google is now developing their own in-house smartwatch. They acquired Fitbit early 2021 for 2.1 billion, I believe it was. But what they're developing now is actually different. It's their own like hardware. They're going from the ground up. And it'll have all the bells and whistles like Fitbits, like all the tracking, the heart rate, and all the other jazz that comes with it. But they'll be working on a new version of the Wear OS, which is already available, but other brands that use it like heavily modify it, like like Android, for example. There's stock Android, but then Samsung and whoever else has their own flavors of it, accompanied for their hardware, like works better for them or something. I don't really know. It's a bit of an interesting one how that's approached, but yeah. What's your thoughts on this, mate?
I've been waiting. Well, I still need to get Pixel Buds, to be fair, before I even start thinking of a watch. Yeah, it's basically the AirPod versions of Google, and I think they're a bit more ergonomic because they have a little ear like circular thing that clips in, and I think it's adjustable too, just like their earphones were. Their earphones are actually very good. And you know what? I'm gonna get earphones. I don't care about Google, not Google. I don't care about Bluetooth and wireless. I just need something that, because then just like batteries, you have to like think about that, blah blah blah. But anyway, this isn't about earphones or headphones. It's Google. Google is in the market now for smart like wearables. It's not even just like smartphones anymore. It's smart everything, smart wearables, home appliances. They're like Apple and Amazon put together. They have like home devices, they have wearables, they have software, they have everything. So, I mean, this has been rumored for like the past year now, because we thought they would never even get into everything else. It would just be a phone and then that's it. But I mean, stupid of us to think that. Why would they not? So here we are. I can't wait to see it. I love Google devices, although I'm always limit myself to just one thing per company because it's just who I am. There's no like deep dive into like being safe or security. I just don't really want to have more than one thing of one company. So I don't think I'll actually get the watch. But hey, if it's a competitor to Apple, and also Samsung has a decent one too, right? I'm pretty sure. And it's another company that has a decent one.
I think there is quite a few contenders out there. I think it's just like it depends on the use case and the user. Like if you want it more for maybe say you want it for swimming, whereas like some of them might not be water resistant, so you wouldn't want them. I guess you'd have your own personal, not caveats, but like intricacies of why you would want one over the other and stuff like that.
I'm sure they'll probably do the same lineup of having one that's got a different PSI, one that's used for sports, one that's used for home.
PSI? What?
It's like how deep it can go underwater.
Oh, you mean the measurement? Pounds per square
Yeah.
inch. Okay, cool. All right.
So that's how they measure. That's how they measure it, right?
I thought it was. Usually they just say like how far in meters you can go, which typically, if it's water, you can. And I won't get into the science of it, but sure.
But yeah, they do that. They do like waterproof, water resistance, and they also give you like a PSI measurement. So, cause like nobody uses that because I don't know what the hell it means. Because usually there's a description of, oh, this means you can go underwater for like 10 meters. So like the PSI number doesn't really like, I don't know what the hell that like translates to.
I think internationally they go for the IP rating.
That's what I meant, not PSI. Flip.
Yeah,
hell, Louis.
you can.
PSI is what's PSI? Like the car?
Pounds per square inch. You can measure like that is.
Wait, it's still the same. Is it?
No, it is. It is. That would be if you're working out the force and the pressure it could. But anyway.
Yeah, that. So I was right.
Yeah. So you're technically right. It's just use the IP rating. It's easier because you can say like IP 60, IP this, whatever. And there's like an international standard, I believe.
Okay, I think phone companies they do use IP, not PSI. But
Yeah,
I've seen PSI somewhere. That's why it's in my head.
They can show you the same measurement in PSI, I believe.
You know what?
But yeah.
Yeah.
Shuffling on.
No, wait. So I don't even know what it looks like. What does it look like?
What, PSI?
No. The Pixel, the Pixel Watch.
Oh no, there's no real like say of like what it looks like. It's like it's only rumored to come out, right? They're in the middle of like going for it. They're designing and going through their multiple rounds of development and stuff like that. So
yeah,
for the moment, there's no real thing, but it's like rumored. So it's like, hey, let's come in 2022-ish.
As long as it's like circular and not square, then I'm game. Actually, wait, are the iPhone? What's it
yeah,
called?
Apple's square.
They're circular.
No,
they're square. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
I did see some renders like a year ago. They look very like cartoonish, so hopefully it's nothing to do with like. I don't know if you saw them, but I assume it would be circular because Google likes rounded edges apparently nowadays. So
don't know.
We'll see.
Shall we? Talking of water depth and resistance, should we take a deep dive, mate? Should we do it?
Yes.
Should we do it? Should we leap?
Put your goggles on. Put your cap on. At your marks,
bro. I'm putting my scuba gear on. I'm putting a tank on. I'm not going like just a meter. I'm going deep.
Yeah. Get the what's that machine called?
Submarine.
Get your submarine out. Just get it out the garage.
Yeah, no worries. I'll be 10 minutes. Just need to unplug it and that.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a big submarine. You just like
one that doesn't let you die.
Yeah. Isn't it? What's the ones that people like get in to go shark like watching? The little ones, the little yellow ones.
I think that's just still called a submarine. I think
exactly. That's my point. Like, it doesn't have to be like huge.
I think submarine's just like classification. I think like a car is just a car, but it could be.
No, but like when I said that, you assumed like a war submarine, right?
No, I just meant one that you could shove in your garage and plug it in. That's what I meant. I didn't know. I knew you didn't mean like some massive submarine that you take to war to blow a country out of the place. No.
Anyway, we'll dive in a bit deeper. So last week we had usually I think are we gonna like split it between quick fire rounds and deep dives.
I mean, the audience have to tell us what do they like.
It's true. Yeah. So this week it's a deep dive or two deep dives, and the first one is Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, or formerly the CEO of Twitter, has resigned. And if you don't know anything about Jack, he was the co-founder of Twitter back when it was released in 2006. And then the board that existed got rid of him. And then they kept on succeeding. So this is like in the heydays, like 2010, 2011s. And then he went on to create Square, which I don't know if you've heard of Square, but they are the company that also developed Cash App. And they pretty much like giving people access to the economy on different ways, such as transactions, applications, physical and hardware. And Cash App is just a means of also sending cash to other people and across the world. And nowadays you can also like trade on Cash App and invest in like cryptocurrencies and just normal stocks too. So it did a lot with that. And then in doing so, Twitter were like, hey, can you come back? You seem pretty cool. So then after getting rid of him and after he went on and did all of that, they asked him to come back. So he came back, and I don't know. the word I could use because it hasn't been as successful of the past like 3 or so years. But that's not because of their own wrongdoing, but it's just because the world has changed. Instagram blew up a little bit more. Facebook is making a comeback. There's been like TikTok. There's been so many like other social media like ways and things that exist now. So it's hard to say it's been a decline, but it hasn't been as successful as they have been in the past. But mainly because of their own doing. Like they haven't really adapted to the world. Like I know when Clubhouse came out, there was already like a Twitter Spaces for talking in like what do they call them, rooms, and they were kind of the first company to adopt that. So I don't know if you've seen those rooms where like you see like Jay-Z talking to 5 other people, and then you can just like listen in, and then later on people usually when it ends, but people like record their screens, and then you get the end of it coming out there. But they have tried to adopt certain things to keep up, and Clubhouse now I don't know what happened to them, but whatever. But they just haven't been as ingenuitive as they have been, and that's kind of links to Jack's like kind of he's been pushing towards decentralized finances kind of avenues and kind of like changing how the world works and how the world sees banking and those kind of things. So it's kind of led into Twitter themselves asking him, "Hey, I know we asked you to come back and you're back now, but like, is your focus really on Twitter or is it elsewhere?" And then after that question was asked of him, he was like, "You know what? You're right. My focus is elsewhere. It's with Square and Cash App and other things." So I guess my personal opinion is they asked him that question, and then now he's like, "Yeah, you're right. My focus is on this, so I'm going to leave." And so that's a little bit of rundown on Jack Dorsey.
I mean, I don't think it's not that I would say that his mind is elsewhere, because he hasn't officially said, "Hey, look, I'm going back to Block." Well, Square's now under the parent company is called Block now. I don't think he's officially said that. I think he's just like stepping back from Twitter, which I think is a good thing, because even he said in his own tweet with the email he sent to all his employees, that it's become a thing that a lot of people, like the founders or the people that own the company, their ego gets involved, and then it becomes about what they want, not what the actual direction for the company is. And the new guy that's stepping in for him, what's his name? Like Parag,
Yeah.
Parag. I don't know his last name. Parag. He's grown up in the company, and for him, Jack believes he's the natural person to take in, because he's got Twitter's best interest at heart, like whatever that may be, which Jack maybe is, like you said, like aligned to other things, but he hasn't physically said what he's going to next. But yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing that, like you said, about his own ego, like it's like, hey, it's not about me. It's like, what do the people of Twitter want? Like, let's listen to our customer base. Let's move forward with that.
But even if he hasn't said what he's doing next, like actions speak louder than words. As soon as he resigned, Block became a thing, and they changed their name from Square to Block, and then all the companies underneath that, which is Cash App, Tidal, uh, BTC something, and of course Square itself, are now under an umbrella company. And then so it's like the timing, it's kind of clear to me, and he has had more of a focus on like decentralized finances for the past like 2 or 3 years. So and Twitter as well will be following suit. Like he's still not in partnership, but there is a link between. I'm pretty sure there's a link between Square and Twitter somehow, and it's still like part of his company. So not part of his company, but it's still part of him. So like there will be. I know Twitter have hired a oh, what's the name? I can't remember the name, but they've got a new department that focuses on decentralized finances and blockchain technologies. So it's like he's leaving, but they're also still implementing some of the things that he's focusing on as well. So it's like it goes both ways. Both companies or both people are going in the same direction, but he just doesn't maybe doesn't need to be there. Maybe he was like, okay, I'll put this idea in their heads now. That's all I wanted to do. Now I'm going to do it my way on this company here without having to affect Twitter itself. And Twitter can also follow suit without me being like, attached to things. Because he is more of a not eccentric, like philanthropist, I think is probably the word. Because, like recently he did buy out Tidal from Jay-Z. And I think it's not Tidal, Sprint Sprint had like some sort of ownership with Jay-Z for Tidal, and then he bought like the majority share. So Tidal being part of Block now is also very new. If you don't know what Tidal is, it's also a DSP, digital streaming platform. I think it's the word for like streaming music. It's pretty much the same, but they focus more on high fidelity sounds, and they also have like every song and artist that you can think of. But they focus more on quality of sound. So if you've ever tried it, I think they do 3 month trials. You can just have a listen with your headphones and then compare the two. Because I've recently switched to it personally, so me hearing that Tidal is a part of this new block thing, and also Jack is focusing more, or will be focusing more on all of this. It's good for me because I want my music platform to improve, and so far I've seen it grow from nothing to the big marketing machine it was with like Jay-Z and all the other artists that went exclusive, such as like Beyonce. I think Taylor Swift might have been part of that, Drake, all of those guys, Rihanna as well. But then obviously later when they all started releasing music and everything else. But I'm pretty sure you've seen that when like La Life of Pablo dropped with Kanye West, and it was only available on Tidal. And Beyonce's what's the B movie? Not the B movie. What's the B? What was the Beyonce album?
No clue.
Lemonade. Lemonade was
Lemonade.
also only exclusive to Tidal for like a whole year or two. But then now it's like everybody wins when everybody's on everything, so they've allowed it to go everywhere else. Whereas so there was a time where they tried to hold on to the exclusivity of things, but then they realized like it's not the smartest thing to do for the artists. And that's the other thing about Tidal and Jack is they really focus on the people, and the people that create and the people that make. So it's always in like who's getting what. So even the payment structure is more tailored towards the artist itself. So, and you can actually, here's one thing I learned recently. You can, your monthly subscription rate that on like Spotify that you'd have, like 7.99 or whatever. On Tidal, you can have your saved, I think it's 9.99, right? So £10. You can pay 5 of that £10 directly to your favorite artist every month.
Oh, okay.
So if you have like a friend that's a musician and releases music in Tidal, you can be like, hey, you know that my 10.99, my 9.99, can I put 50% of that into just this one person? I may not even listen to their music that often, but I want to support my friend. So Tidal allows you to do that. So like you can focus more on paying the person you want to pay the most to. So it's yeah, they are very artist friendly, and Jack or Jay-Z and Jack are now like in cahoots. That's not even the right word. They work together, and you can. I just like the guy in general because he's always been focused on like helping people, and even like Cash App again, back to decentralized, like not financing but decentralized transactions and also access. It made it easier to send money not just to people next to you but globally as well, and also giving access to stocks and cryptocurrencies on an application. That was one of the first, or one of the biggest shifters and implementations that we've seen when that came out like a year or 2 years ago. So he's always been like, hey, how can I make everything that's accessible to the rich accessible to the people that aren't so rich, and how can we pay people correctly? So I've been keeping a close eye on Jack, as you can probably hear, and I will continue to do so because I just think he's one of those guys that, like, we have your eccentric billionaires, that your Bezoses and your Elon Musks, that they think outside of the world, literally outside of the world. Whereas people like Jack think more, hey, internally, how can we help the people next to us around the world and keep things kind of like grounded? So it's good to have the balance of the two types of people, because some people, thinking outside the box, but then others think inside the box, but outside the box, but like within the box. You know what I mean? Like it's outside the big box, but it's still inside the box.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Your last point about Cash App and like it being like one of the big changes, I'd argue that it wasn't. I'd argue that there was many options out there already. That they didn't have the publicity because they didn't have, say, Jack Dorsey and like Twitter and whatever else like pushing it, but those options did exist. And then the Tidal thing as well, actually, playing devil's advocate. How much fees and how much of that money would the person actually get? So say like you send them £5 of your each month, what is it, like a £1,000 minimum until they can like buy out, or is it like they'll take then 20% of whatever money they make? So like how much, like is there any way that they tell you how much they'd actually get? Like they tell you, okay, £5 goes to them. Okay, so like the £5 I go now, they could literally cash that out tomorrow, sort of thing.
Yeah, literally, and that's the other thing as well.
Okay.
Their payment structure is instantaneous.
Oh,
So you
okay.
get the money in your account instantly, pretty much. Whereas I don't know how Spotify works, but it might be like at the end of the month. But there's a few artists that I know of that have been like, hey, I've been on Spotify for like 5 or so years, but I've been on Tidal for 3 years, and I can tell you that even though there's not as many followers in there, my most of my money comes from Tidal. So it's like it's actually it's a bit crazy. So if they could, but then they know as well, like, hey, if I could have it my way, I'd try and make everyone listen to me on Tidal, but you just can't do that. So it's like, yeah, that's what I'm searching because again, you have to start with, you have to start with yourself at some point. And if you want to see change, especially like even like back to like Facebook, if you don't like how something's going or something's working, and there are other options out there, you have to begin your switch yourself. You can't just be like asking other people to do so. So that's why I've taken the prerogative to be like, you know what, yeah, it's time. I've used them before, to be fair, like this isn't new, but now it's like, I say that, but when my Spotify monthly came out this morning, so I was meant to cancel that.
Too late.
So I'll still have access to Spotify. Is it premium? Because there's the free version as well. So
Yeah.
but yeah. Also, Tidal will be releasing the free version too. This has just been a Tidal flipping advert, but it was whatever.
Bruh, I did not endorse this
And
at
back
one
to your
point.
other point about Cash App not being the only one, you're right. But again, like back to the Facebook point, it doesn't matter if there's other options if nobody knows about them. So it kind of adds to it if there is notoriety and marketing behind what exists out there. Because like again, access is probably my main fight again in the tech world is people knowing how things work and where things are is more important than things existing. Like it's just how the world works. Like if something's there but nobody knows about it, then what's like the point?
But I'd argue on the same thing. The human race is lazy. They want it to be shown on a massive billboard in front of them, as opposed to go
Exactly.
out there and look what they want. So
Yeah,
like,
no, that's
so that's what I'm saying. So you can't, you technically can't say, hey, look, this is now brilliant, this is great, when the other options existed. Because if you had a real need to do something, you would go do something about it. But a lot of people just don't do that. They just sit on their arse and be like, yeah, there's nothing to do. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. So we have to hope that the good guys are also marketing as hard as the bad guys.
Not even like the good guys and the bad guys. Like, is in like you have a need to do X. I don't know. Say you need to send money back to like your family somewhere else because they need money, right? You could go out there and look for different options and avenues, whatever the best way that charges you less, the more easy for them to get and whatnot, and you would find a way. It's just because Twitter has like a massive thing that they can like market everywhere because they have like an unlimited marketing budget. Oh no, Cash App. Okay, this is great. This is now brilliant. Whereas like if Twitter wasn't a thing, you would have to go look for it. Like there's always a better option out there for you. But I think people need to. I think the social media is making us lazy, and in some ways maybe that's good because like whoever wins the marketing thing gets certain people. But I think on the other end, the thing is like put your phone down and go see the sun outside. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but again, that's asking a lot of people, and it's just more like if there's something out there, the first thing you see will be the first thing you go to. If you're trying to pay someone something, it will always be, hey, what's readily available? And not just what's readily available, because this isn't just like going out to physically find like a money transferring store in the middle of town. It's also like, hey, this is on my phone, and this other person across the world can get it on their phone too. That didn't exist as much so 10 years ago as it does nowadays. So it's like, okay, which one of these apps that I can do this with is like the most prevalent and the most used and has the most user base to make things easier for everybody else. But
I think maybe that's a personality trait. Like if I owed someone money and they were like, "Can you pay me back?" I'd just ask them like, "What's easiest for you?" And if they said like cash, can you send me to my bank transfer? Can you do this? I'd be like, cool. Or like then if they say, "Oh, you can use cash," I'm like, I don't use that. I was like, "What's your next one?" They're like, "Oh, okay, maybe I got Monzo." Okay, cool, send it to you. So it might not be about what you go look for what you want first. I don't know. It's an interesting one, isn't it? We'll have flying cars and stuff soon. You won't have to do anything. It's like you'd look at someone and be like, all right, I've sent that 20 quid to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, talking of changes, The CEO of Lush says that he's happy to lose $13 million by deleting Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat their accounts over teen mental health issues. I can't say the person's name. Can you say their name?
Frances Hawkins.
Frances Hawkins.
This is the whistleblower that recently came out against Facebook, letting us all know that Facebook is deliberately trying to market to your kids under the age of wherever their cap is. Is it 13?
Believe so.
So it's more of a, hey, we all thought that Facebook were deliberately trying to get 10-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 8-year-olds being on Facebook and the internet. But then she was like, no, that's true. Look, these are the facts. They're doing this on the purpose because they want people that are naive to be online, because then you spend more money. But not just that. At the end of the day, it's a numbers game. So they want more people to just be on Facebook. So they're going to market to the growing population, and they want everybody on there because they already have everybody else that's on there that's of age. So it's like, hey, we want more people in here. How can we do that? We've already got everyone on here. So how about people that are under the age of our restricted age, whatever range? So there's like, yeah. So it's done on purpose. So if you see people, I mean, I'm pretty sure we had Facebook at like 12 years old, didn't we? Which was like under the age at the time.
I don't remember, to be honest.
20 middle school, so we were like definitely not 13, and that must have been year 7. Yeah, I think I was like 12 when I first got on Facebook. So if everybody else in the school was on it, so that means there's people like kids that were like 10, 11 also on there.
I mean, there's no way for them to verify it because you don't have like government ID that age, right?
No, but my point is, if I was on it at 12, 10 years ago, Louis, of course there are kids now that are 8 years old, 6 years old that are on it now.
But I think the problem was they knew that they were younger
and did nothing about it.
A, that, but B, they targeted them.
Yeah.
So instead of going over the people that you should have been, like 13 and above, they were like, oh, by what we can see and through algorithms, we've worked out you're actually under 13. We're going to target you with ads. Yeah. Do this and do that. That's the problem, I believe.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, because like obviously, like anyone can like Facebook got no way to verify that you are that age at 13. Like, you don't have any ID, right? You've got a birth certificate, but they're not gonna scan me your birth certificate. How do we even know it's you? It's not like a photo ID on it, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea of this, like the CEO of Lush saying like, "Hey, look, we're gonna." I think they combined 10.6 million followers across their like Facebook and Instagram accounts, and like the idea of them doing this is to I wouldn't want to say favor with Frances's like whistleblowing, because it technically is, but it's not. At the same time, it's not like, oh, this is exactly what she said, we're on the same boat as her. It's the broader concept to how social media is ignoring and also becoming more of a detrimental effect to many growing, I don't want to say trends, but they're technically trends of like mental health issues, climate change, falsification of like news media and propaganda and stuff like that, which these companies can say, Twitter, Facebook, whoever else you want to talk about, how much they want to put into fight this, to say, hey, look, we'll have a dedicated team of like 500 people that will screen through everyone's tweets, we'll do this and we'll do that. They're only doing what I can tell is like the bare minimum. It seems like the bare minimum. Maybe they're doing a lot more and they're not vocalizing it as much as they should, but I feel like there's always more that can be done.
But I think it's the opposite. It's not even just the bare minimum. Like, they're targeting the weak to benefit from themselves. And that comes, it's kind of like, we now know that you're not even just not trying, you're doing the opposite, and you're purposefully trying to just like profit from ignorance and people's detriment. And back to your point about the CEO of Lush, like his quote was, in the same way that evidence against climate change was ignored and belittled for decades, concerns about the serious effects of social media are going largely ignored. And that's kind of the thing here. Like, we know that these are issues. We know like kids, and not just kids, everybody, like mental health is a serious issue, and the suicide rates are going up. And it's all kind of like linked to how people's lives are being lived on social media. And the last CEO is like, hey, we're seeing this happening. People are literally dying, and you're doing nothing about it except pushing more towards like, yeah, get more people on here and don't regulate anything. So they're
Mm.
like, nah, we're not doing this anymore. Like there's too much death happening. There's too much like destruction of the growing populations that's going on. And you, the biggest conglomerates and corporations that are out here, and that are a massive marketing tool for us. Like we 10.6 million followers across, that's money for us. That's 13 mil he's willing or she is willing to just like let go of to help kids pretty much and everybody else suffering because it's like at what cost is a human life? Like, are we just gonna let this happen to make more money? Because they're like, no, we're gonna cut ties with all of this with Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, everything
Mm.
that's affecting us or affecting our customer base, which is people. It's not just like a target of like, oh, we have this niche market or whatever. It's not. No, no. These are human beings. They're being affected by the way you handle things. We don't want the human beings that interact with us and buy our products to be seeing our products on here either. So it's like kind of it's a start it's a starting thing. I've never seen anything like this personally. Whereas a company has taken such a big stance, not just taking a stance, because you've seen people like advocate against this is the action now. So it's like, no, 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 we're actually not using you anymore. We'll lose money, whatever. We're tired of fighting your algorithms and your platforms and all these things that you do. We're tired of how you regulate things and how you just sweep things under the rug. We're also tired, back to your point earlier, you get hacked like every day. What's up with that? So yeah, I was saying that they're tired of fighting algorithms and that are created by these companies but aren't even regulated by their own companies too. There's another point. I was listening to the Joe Budden podcast actually, just for reference,
Mm.
and he was asking a question. Maybe you can answer this as well. It's more of a who's controlling these algorithms and these things. It's no longer people, is it?
No.
At this point, so it's like you've created these means to help your company like sustain and go forward, but there's no longer a human element involved, and you get to a point where the numbers are literally because these are computers at the end of the day. They're not self-aware just yet, and I don't think they're
Mm.
supposed to be because if they were, they wouldn't be making money. They'd be making like lives better. But you know what I mean? But money makes the world go round. So it's like, hey, we know about your mental health, but do you wanna dye your hair blonde real quick? Do you wanna buy these clothes? This oh, you heard about the new iPhone. Look at this. Social media. You get
You want
all
to
of
buy this?
this.
You want to buy that?
Yeah, there's no time to stop and think. No, 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 you can't meditate. Don't do that. That's taking time off of the application. We need your attention right now. We need to be clicking things, like things,
Yep.
interact, do all of this. So, it's good to see companies like the CEO of Lush being like, no, 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 we need to clamp down on this because this is getting out of hand. And what future are we leading? Like what are we raising first of all? Because back to Francis's whole spiel, I guess you can call it. It's like if the kids we are seeing kids grow up in a society that we don't agree with, but we're just like kind of ignoring it and also us brushing it under the rug. So it's like we need to pick and choose between either we care about how they're growing up and how we're leading our lives, or if we care more about the advancement of technology. But it's not even the advancement of technology. It's more of the advancement of making money and how much we can get people's data and information and sell them things and market things to them. So it's like, again, we've got to go back to the human element of no, we care about people and we want actually to people's lives to be better. So shout out to the CEO. What's his name? We need to get his name.
CEO. I don't think it even
His name's
says.
CEO.
His name is CEO. You know what I mean?
Fair play. Shout out to CEO.
Let me find out. I think what you just said though is exactly the money. Mark Constantine. Mark
Mark
Constantine.
Constantine. Shout out. Yeah.
Yeah. He's been there since 1995. Fair play.
Fair play.
He's 69 years old. Anyway.
Nice.
At the time it's recording. I think what you just said hit the nail on the head. I think that is the whole point. Like the fact that people are human. It's not a number on a spreadsheet. It's not, hey, look, we've made X amount of million this month, or we've had this many clicks, we've had this many things. It's like, how many lives have we interacted with, and how much of that was negative and how much of that was positive? How do we increase the positive? How do we make people's lives better? Because if their life isn't better, their life will end shorter and you won't get them in the long run, right? Like in my head, I see it as how can you better your customer base to want them to come back to you. Whereas if you're making it worse for them, at one point something's going to snap, and more than likely they're not going to use your product. They're not going to want to come back to you. But then there's those greedy corporate people as well. At the same time, they're like, how much can we squeeze out of them before that happens?
For the time being, exactly.
Yeah.
And then we just move on to the next thing. So it's just like, it's a never-ending cycle. And
Yeah.
it's good to see Constantine, Mr. Constantine, and others, Mark, that are kind of not just putting this to the limelight, but also acting on it. Because again, actions speak louder than words. Like we've seen in Zuckerberg, every time he's like, "Oh, we'll do better. And it's just like nothing happens."
They
shout out
say
to Mark for actually doing some stuff.
Yeah, Mark Constantine. That is not good old Zuck with his sweet baby rays.
What's up with you, sweet baby rays?
Mark Constantine, he's got an OBE. Does that mean we call him Sir? Is it Sir Mark Constantine? I don't know how that works.
I think it might be actually, yeah.
Okay, Sir Mark Constantine, fair play. And the second thing, it's a nasty catch-22, to be honest. Social media, it's both great for development and also it's so great in so many aspects, but it's absolutely terrible in so many others. I think we could spend like 4 hours just like going back and forth of the same points, but like the main point of what Sir Mark Constantine was trying to, if we've got this wrong, we just keep saying Sir. Fair play. I mean, just call you Sir.
That was you, by the way. I didn't really. I just called it Mark.
I mean, it's not like we're insulting him. It's more of a compliment if he's not a Sir. Like the main issue at hand is like making like helping that shift for teens and their mental health, and like going after those concerns, which like the social media side of it, those companies like Twitter, Facebook, whatever, Instagram, blah, blah, whatever, they won't see that as like oh look, he's doing something for the right. They'll see that as okay, cool, how can we convince them to come back? Do you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, these are some serious concerns that they have. How can we help with this? It's they've just lost 13 million. Because obviously of that 13 million that they'd lose, however much those companies would make on top of that, they're losing out. Do you know what I mean? And if there was enough of a stand up to be like, hey, look, you lot need to sort your stuff out. But I don't think there was. I think there's too much money to be had with this that none of them will do that.
You have to be willing to lose money to help. And that's why this is important, because it's like, it's showing that, hey, we'll lose whatever we have to lose. I think that's the bare bones of it. It's like, you're going to lose money. That is true. So it's going to be what's more important, the life or the money.
I think it depends on how much money you lose. Like, for example, say 13 million, that could be like 5% of what they make a year, as opposed to someone else where they only use social media platforms and that's like 90%.
That is true.
So I think there's that certain aspect, and for the people that's like making 90% of it from social media, you're not going to take a 90% cut. Like, there's no way in hell. Like, you need to put food on the table, provide for your family, etc. So that's where the catch-22 comes in again, and it's like, right, how much can we squeeze out at this moment? And those, say, like influencers or whatever, like, absolutely, it's not that I hate them. Hate's a very strong word, but the majority of those influencers and whatever, they're like, oh my god, this brand is so cool. Like, it's like, sure, I know you're going to end this Instagram story and put it in a bin. Like, don't, why are you lying to me for? They don't care about the people that's like on the receiving end of that to say, oh my god, I need to buy this because this is what makes me cool. I need to fit in. Do you know what I mean? Some of them maybe do and they still do it. Some of them doing it indirectly and don't know about it. But I think the main point is we can all do something to help. All right, it might not be the everyone go protest and stop using social media, because that would never happen. Because of the shift in the way it's helped us in our day-to-day lives. But I think the point out of that is, again, to reiterate the same point, is we can all do something to help. What and how, I guess it depends on you and how you use it, right? But yeah, it's a very sticky situation.
Very lush.
Oh my god! I mean, the it's not a lush situation.
No, it's lush that he's doing something good.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, I stand by it. If I owned a company that was making 30 million or so from thinking I'd do the same thing.
But their revenue is like 300 mil, so it is like 5% or under, but per year.
Still a good chunk though.
Yeah. But they have like physical stores, so it's different.
Yeah.
Like you said.
I think that might be it for the deep dive for this week.
Yeah. I think we covered most of what we wanted to cover. So, in fact, this was meant to be like last week, but we made sure we had a segment specific to this, so we could talk a bit more on the effects of social media.
So, thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. It's been episode 5 of Intechlectual. Raise your socials. I'm Louis.
That's the Lil Uzi Vert song, actually. I just realised that's where I got that idea from. Erase your social.
Copyright.
It's not copyright.
Is he going to come after us on social media?
No.
Just delete all your social medias, right? You won't have to worry about it.
Exactly. Dude, what was it? Oh, the whole cancel culture thing is like, if you don't have Facebook, you'd never know you're not cancelled.
Yeah, see, I never know I'm cancelled. Cool,
it was
great.
Is it Dave Chappelle? It was like, if you don't have social media... Actually, that's different because Dave's too big. What are we talking about?
Well,
this is Louis. Thank you for listening.
I'm Manny.
It's been episode 5, Erase Your Socials, and we'll see you next week.
See you later, guys.
Bye bye.